All right, hey everyone, welcome back. This is the second episode, episode 2. This is Gene with GTV. I'm sitting here with another longtime area coach, Coach Darin DeCosta, Royal Palm Beach High School. Coach DeCosta started his career in Florida. Actually, coaching career started in Rhode Island, moved to South Florida, early 2000s, and coached with Seminole Ridge for several years under Coach Matt Dickman. And now, after several years at the Ridge and I think a brief stint over at Jupiter, is now at Royal Palm. Last year, he was the D coordinator and helped Coach Lowry turn that program around after a couple of winless seasons. Wildcats went 6-4 last year. Well, Coach DeCosta has now stepped into that head coaching role for the Wildcats. So we're going to pick his brain today and find out what's making the Wildcats tick under his direction. How he's keeping the players engaged over there through this pandemic and what their expectations are in the fall. Welcome, Coach. Good to have you. Appreciate it. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So take us back. Let's do some time traveling. You come to Florida. You land in South Florida in Palm Beach County, and you start coaching with Seminole Ridge with the Hawks. And your first experience was with Coach Dickman, I understand?
Yeah, 2008 over at Seminole Ridge. Coach Dickman had hired me to start there. I was D-line and O-line coach with him. As we progressed through the years with Matt, I had my opportunity to become the JV head coach, defensive coordinator for JV. Learned a lot under Matt and his varsity staff with Hilliker, Kennison, long-time names in the county. It just,
that's right. Hilliker was there too.
Yeah, Kennison and Runner, David Runner, and just how to build, because when Matt actually got that school, it was a brand new school. So, the building was actually, and that was a great experience, to be part of that whole building process, even though I was at the lower level, just, watching how all the pieces were put together.
Right.
So
I was going to ask, what was it? Yeah. What was it like working, with Coach Dickman? Obviously he's in Georgia, at Harrison High School, recently won a state championship this past season, I believe. So, of course, he comes along, he's got a long line of success. So what was it like working with him?
I mean, the only way to describe it was awesome. I mean, his mentorship, leadership, he let you make your mistakes, but, he was there to help you get through it.
Right.
He guided you all the way, but he also kept his expectations very high, for all his coaches in the entire program. So, and that was what gave the school the program philosophy of, this is how we're going to do it at all levels, all the way through. So, I mean, like I said, there's no other way to say it. It was awesome. It was just a great experience.
Right. You were actually able to share that experience as you moved along through your coaching career there with your son, right? Am I correct?
That was very unique. Yeah, that was very unique. He he started as a freshman there. He went in as a freshman. He was behind Stephen DeMayo. I don't know if you remember that name. Steve DeMayo was the freshman quarterback. Zach was the backup quarterback. We were looking at Antoine Washington as the varsity junior starter.
I remember that name.
Yep. And so when Zach became a sophomore, Steven decided to leave and go to Jupiter. Zach played a JV season. I think I was head coach at that time, but I was a defensive coach. So, he had the offensive guys. and they coached him, and I stayed out of the way. I
It's
stayed
easier
out
to
of the
do, I
way.
guess, right? Being on defense.
That was the best thing I could do about that. Stay out of the way of that. And then when Matt had named him the varsity starter at the end of his sophomore year, it was just those Friday nights were something that it was just magical.
Yeah. You truly did pack the stands, and those bleachers are not a small. I mean, that's not a small stadium, and at Cali Judge Stadium, they would pack them in. I remember.
It was like I said, it was the atmosphere, but that was all built on on what we were doing as a program. Everybody was interested in the area. We had the ties with the Acreage football program, and in the town, it was the best ticket on a Friday night. It was right
Right.
here, under the lights, and people really came out and they supported the program.
Well, it's funny because on Friday nights when I would cover home games for the local news, uh, anybody that would drive by the stadium during a game, you'd hear the horn going as they would drive
Yeah.
by. So it's almost been it's like a long-standing tradition, I suppose.
You drive
So
by and you beep the horn. Yep, that was awesome. Yep.
so back in the day, I'm still in my time capsule here because and we'll bridge that gap as you make that transition from Seminole Ridge and then move on with your career to Royal Palm. But back in the day, the talent pool of athletes, of players was phenomenal because a lot of them have moved on to play big D1 ball. There's actually a couple, I believe, that are in the NFL. We were just talking about Kareth White, some big names, but you had Silas Spearman. You had, obviously your son was a prominent quarterback in his prime there. You had Etienne, E.J. Aline, I think was another name, Shortridge, Antonio Woods. I mean, it's just, Jake Jones, who was playing at FAU. And then on Royal Palm side, I remember Ant McGrew being the quarterback. Toddy Centillo was actually there for, I think, a season or two. You had Tremaine McCullough, the running back. I mean, that kid scored 5 rushing touchdowns against Lake Worth, I think in 2012 or 2013. Frederick Johnson, Shamar Jackson, Charles Perry, DeMarcus Holloway. I mean, just it goes on and on and on. So there's a long-standing tradition with both programs of having stellar athletes and successful programs. So, I mean, some of those names are obviously ringing a bell with you.
It's actually really ironic, no, because you go back and EJ, Jalen Young,
Jalen, yeah.
White, all those kids would eat lunch at my house after 2-a-day practices.
Wow.
And in between the practices, they'd come over here, jump in the pool. We cook for them, and then get them back down to practice. You mentioned Royal Palm guys, Tremaine McCullough, Charles Perry, Malcolm Pendergrass. The ironic part is now too is that those guys are on my coaching staff. So we're trying to bring back Royal Palm with the players that used to play there and the iconic names that you had all just mentioned that everyone should remember are now part of that staff, which is going to keep on turning this program back.
Wow.
So
that's great.
It's really unique.
Yeah. And that might add fuel to the rival because each season you battle on the gridiron every year. You make it on the field and go head to head. So probably makes
the
for
battles are that ugly trophy, but that it means it means so much. It means so much just being able to flip that trophy around, to the proper side, to the Wildcat or that.
I remember hearing the comments after the games about the trophy, but it has a specific significance for sure. I mean, that's everybody wants the trophy, as ugly as it may be.
Yeah, there was lots of joking going back and forth about, we're going to glue it down this time, so it's never going back over there, and now, vice versa. So yeah, there's a lot of bantering going on with that too.
Right. All right. So you come into Royal Palm, and last year you were the defensive coordinator under Coach Lowry. You guys I don't know if Royal Palm was considered to do any damage last season, or what the expectations were in the media, because it 2 or 3 seasons of going without a win, you kind of fall off the radar. You guys come in and you go 6-4. So, and this is a program that after being in the top 10 and going to, winning the district, or being a deep postseason playoff runner. I remember going down to St. Thomas. I think it was in 2014. They played St. Thomas in the regional final. So we had 2 local area teams. I think Wellington was going down to Flanagan that year, and you had Royal Palm going down to St. Thomas. So a program that had a long history of being successful. You guys come in after a few dismal seasons and go 6-4. So talk a little bit about that, and let us know, did you guys actually exceed your expectations, or were you right on point? Or obviously you probably had a desire to go farther, and that's what it's all about, making the playoffs and trying to go as deep as you possibly can. But to go 6-4 after that many seasons, what was that like?
Yeah, it was. I think we were on point with our expectations. Hindsight, where a couple games got away, that where we really had a chance to be 8-2. 6-4 was nice. When we sat down in January, when I joined the staff, we were just looking at some stuff and going through with Coach Lowry, and just getting one win was the first goal.
Right.
Getting the kids,
fair enough.
Getting back on the track of learning how to be a winner. What winning felt like. And then how did we do it? And that all started with Coach Lowry the previous year. Going 0-10, but never wavering on his goals for the program, and just his basic foundation of this is how you operate. This is the way things are going to be. Culture change to clean up everything that that had led to that and whatever it was time period. So when I joined him, the whole philosophy continued, because it's pretty much every head coach's philosophy. You have to have a culture that fits you, and that's going to be conducive to the players, but also they need to know that there's no more lines. Like that's the line and that's it. And he had that foundation going. So when I came in, it was really easy to to just keep going forward with that and join his mentality.
Right.
And then we started looking at it, and we started working with Spring, and he saw some ways that I approach things a little bit differently than he did, but yet was just where he felt sound enough to give me the reins of the defense, because he had actually both sides of the ball. He did ask me to make a promise to him. He said, listen, if I give you these reins, don't change it, because the kids are only had this foundation of the defense for 1 year. So can you keep on building it with this? And I said, okay, let's go.
Right.
So we went out in the springtime, and we had that jamboree at Suncoast, where we played John I. Leonard, which has a lot of kids that are very familiar with our kids at Royal Palm, and we were able to play them very successfully. And then we had to come back out and play on Suncoast, and we were very successful with them in the last minute of the game. So we walked away with.
I remember I covered the game. I was there.
2 wins in the
great performance
in the springtime, and the kids were in shock. Like they're like, I can't believe we just won a game, but yet they were like, it's awesome. We won a game. Let's keep doing this.
Right.
And that carried us, through the summertime. The fall started with a bang. I mean, we were 3-0 out the gate, which was, for coaches, we were all kind of just looking at each other going, okay, maybe there's something more than what we're seeing here, but we knew that we were going to be okay. And being the underdog, and when people probably not giving you the respect because you have been, 0-10 for the last couple of seasons.
Right.
Really let the kids play relaxed but excited because they had a point to prove, like we can do this. So
all of a sudden you're back on the radar.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that, and then they started seeing that well, now we can hang with these teams, or beat these teams. And, and then we hit Palm Beach Lakes week 4, and we started in the first quarter. We had them 7-0, and then it started to rain, and some bad things happened, and they started to slide back, and so we had to talk about all that. But 3-1, going into our bye week was a great place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, so we were awesome. The kids were motivated. Things were rolling. I mean, everything was staying together that was put together, and it was all on the kids. And, they bought into what we were selling, and
that's what I was going to ask you.
You
had to get the buy-in. I mean, what does that say about the kids' character, that especially the ones that are now juniors or even seniors, right? Because they were there their freshman, sophomore, and junior year with, a suffering program, finding it difficult, is there light at the end of the tunnel? When are we going to win a game? And then boom, here you are, right? So those kids were loyal and stuck around, and you had some success.
Yeah. It was a awakening moment, when you hear a kid say to you, "Hey, coach, this is the first game I've ever won at Royal Palm." Like in my entire, entire high school football career, this is the first game I've ever won. So you're like, and it's that kind of like, sinks in,
that hits you.
Like,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you're like, okay, but listen, what did we do? So and then you flip it back to there, what made us, what made you guys win this football game? What did you, do to get to this point? And you put it back on them. And just like you said, their character, they were tired of being the doormat, if that's a good word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they were tired of losing.
Yeah.
They were tired of losing. They wanted to prove something. So, and they took it and they ran with it. And that was, and that's what it's important, So
now you have the challenge of, at least you have to meet that, right? I mean, the goal is probably to exceed what you accomplished last year.
It would have been easier to have been the head coach at 0-10. Now I have to come in and so I have to keep up the expectations. And you were talking about earlier about the kids. So a lot of those names that we had this year are graduating. So we got some work to do.
Yeah, let's look at some of those names. Ketron Hadley, I think he was the defensive MVP in the All-Star game this past season.
Yes, he was. Yep.
And he had a great pick near the end of the game and almost returned it for a touchdown. Petit Home, Gilbert, Avery and Gilbert, Ricardo Rozier. I know Manolfi comes back. Is he going to be the quarterback senior year?
Manolfi's the quarterback senior year.
Okay, big kid, strong arm, smart.
6'4", 225. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be difficult to manage for opposing defenses for sure. Akeem Woodley, he had a matter of fact, I think he caught the winning touchdown against Suncoast in that spring game.
That was the one. Yep.
So Deshaun Francis, and then Dominic Rosso.
He just signed with Ave Maria. So
right.
I'm just going to go to Ave Maria and
good for him.
Education and kicking over there. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you have some positions to fill. You have some voids to fill, just like any program, right? But a very important position that remains filled is your quarterback position. So that's got to give you some comfort, for the lack of a better word.
Anchor. It's nice to have the anchor back there. Peyton's a brainiac. He's he gets all the concepts. He sees it before even sometimes. A coach will see it. He understands what we're trying to do. And actually, even last year when I was on the staff, talking to him defensively, things that I would put against him and just to show him things, and he picked up. I mean, he's so
right.
He's so
Is it fair to say he's going to be one of the team leaders? Is he going to be?
Yeah,
He's going to take that role.
I'm looking forward to yeah, he's got some bigger shoulders, and he's gonna have to put the team on him.
Yeah,
So
because
gonna
he's
be
so
that kid for us.
mature. I interviewed him last year, and he's just so mature. He's like you said, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's got such a strong arm. And his height is just what you want, right? To be able to see over
He
that O
can see
line.
over everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got a good eye of the field. What about the O line? How are you guys faring as far as the trenches go? O and D, offense and defensively.
We got we have two O linemen coming back. Josh Ottowitz and Grant Carnegie. Grant came into us last year from Berean Christian. Josh Otto has been playing with us the entire time. He was our right tackle last year. Our center, who actually got hurt, I believe, the second game of the year. He had a ACL injury, but he's coming back this year. So we got 3 of our 5. The 2 holes. There's guys that we're looking at that are getting ready to fill those spots. Our backfield is going to be like it was last year with our underclassmen, but they're obviously a year older, and now with coach Tremaine coaching them, we're looking for some big things in the backfield. Wide receiver, we have our youngster coming up, Cody W, who played for us last year on the varsity level also. So
okay,
we're a few shy at some spots, but
well, so is everybody else. That's
and that's what spring would have been for. If we would have had it, it would have been nice to have all the stuff going on. Defensively, I feel pretty good with what we got coming back. Also, we're a little light in the secondary. Losing Andy and Tron. So
right,
but we'll be okay.
Yeah,
we're gonna be working through our growing pains, obviously, but we'll be okay.
Right. So that leads me to ask you, with spring basically being a wash, what are you doing to keep the players engaged through the spring, since they weren't able to step on the field, at least officially, within the other than what they might be doing on their own. And as we approach summer and close out the school year, with distance learning, basically, it's unknown if players are going to be able to attend any kind of camps or 7-on-7s. So what are you doing to keep the players engaged, absent a spring showing?
Yeah, and that's been one of the challenging aspects of this first year head coach. This is a whole new norm way of coaching,
Right.
virtual coaching.
Well, who could have ever prepared for this? This is like
learning on the fly here.
Right. It's basically learning on the fly for sure.
We are actually, believe it or not, we have practice on daily. Our practice runs about an hour. We have our group meetings and our individual meetings, and then we come back to group meetings. We have about 85% of our kids attending. You always want for that 100, but
Right.
people have to do work and stuff like that. But we're online every afternoon, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. The coaches are doing a tremendous job. I can't speak enough about my coaches. The buy-in and what they're doing with video, and how quickly that we were able to put this and work this, to engage the kids actively,
Right.
and not just a passive practice, per se. They're engaged actively. Q&As. Coaches have whiteboards. They've adapted their entire houses also too, and so
they've had to get creative.
Yeah,
right. That's basically what it boils
for
down
us, this actually is a really good thing because of our previous comments before about how young we are. being able to take our time and go through the concepts and explain the whys on the video and on the board. So it's given us a more solid foundation per se.
Right.
So it's good, and like I said, our kids are buying in. The challenge is going to be if we got to do this all summer long. I don't know, how long that we can keep doing this.
So that said, what do you think would be a fair start point, since you guys didn't get to, and none of the teams got the benefit from a spring? It was basically shut down. So what's a fair time frame to start to prepare for the fall? I mean, obviously, officials are going to have to, collect somewhere and agree on a start point, and I'm not sure what the rules are with the FHSAA on when they can start, but do you think that they might adjust or reset that standard, or do some sort of a adjustment on when you can start, since there wasn't a spring? Or is it just going to be, what, we start when we always start?
No, I don't think you can start when we always start. I mean, there's lots of rumors out there, going around, and thoughts by all the coaches that that just want to have ideas and all that stuff. And this is just me. I did see that one of the states is going to allow athletics to start again in July, but that's like out in Indiana. That's not here in South Florida. But in my realistic opinion, I'm looking at going back to school, which now is even not probably going to happen. But if we go back to school when we're supposed to, August 10th, I don't see us playing any football until probably Labor Day week. Because we have to get back in the weight room, and just have that whole month to just prepare for the season.
Right.
So,
I don't believe that they could start later, because then that's just going to start a domino
just
effect for other sports.
Christmas break.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just going to affect too many things, too many sports, and too many programs. With the head coach position, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. Taking the head coach role, I don't know if a lot of the people out there know, but I know that you're an FHSAA basketball official. Is that something that you're going to try to hold on to, being a head coach, or is that something you'll have room for, or is that going to have to get put on hold for now? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit.
I stay actively registered with the FHSAA and the East Coast basketball. I know that this year, once I took the head coach position in January, my games dropped dramatically, or drastically, however you want to say that. I usually work around a 40-game season for high school, and I don't think I broke 15 games this year. So
any postseason action?
No, only because I declined. So
okay.
I was invited.
You had a lot to do. You might have had a little bit on your plate. Yeah.
Just a little bit. So.
Yeah. So what can we expect to see? Are there, as far as the offensively, defensively, going back to football, as far as the same concept from last season, are there any changes? Can we expect a different look? Are you going to go up tempo? How's it going to look coming into the fall for Roll Palm when you guys suit up?
I can't give out all my secrets right now.
No, well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you.
No, I have a different approach with some things.
We're gonna stick with our foundation. That was there again. Going back to when I joined the staff, you can't keep changing things because the kids have to restart their whole learning process. Our job is to continue and grow and get better each day. So I think keeping the foundation that we have, offensively, you're going to see us throw the football. I'd like to do a little bit of job at running the football. That's just that would be my little twist on it. Defensively, you're going to see a very similar defense. I'll throw a couple adjustments in there, that I feel like that we're able to get to, because we're a little bit more knowledgeable this year. And so all in all, I mean, it's going to look like Royal Palm. Hopefully
like you said, you were a
hopefully the
couple
records,
games. You were a couple games
hopefully
from going 8-2 last year. I mean, like you said, a
hopefully the
couple
record
things go
comes
your
out like
way.
the Royal Palm. So, and
Yeah,
that's what we're planning on.
like the
So
Royal
we're just
Palm of
going to keep
old.
strep.
You're
10-0 would be
resurrecting the
nice.
program. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So, how about this? In my episode 1, it came up, and not even really intentionally, but without a spring, that is used also to generate a lot of funds, fundraising to support the program, to replace uniforms and equipment and things like that, and whatever else you might need. So how does that affect your program, and what steps are you looking at maybe trying to, recover from that, to maybe, obviously, again, getting creative to try to be able to have the funds necessary, because we know in Florida, the athletic programs are basically self-funded. So, I had 2 daughters that played club soccer and high school soccer, and it was fundraiser after fundraiser after fundraiser. So, we had to buy our own uniforms. I mean, you're self-sustained. So how are you going to get through that spring? And do you have any plans, or what's going on there as far as
we're still in
fundraising?
contact with all the fundraising people. A lot of stuff has been put on hold, obviously, as they learn how to do virtual fundraising. There's a lot of companies that already do that, but the ones that I guess generate the most of our money are trying to learn how to do this virtually, and so there's not a lot of contact. We're
Right.
just, we're attacking it on a daily basis. I'm with the AD, and we're just trying to figure out the best way to get everybody active, and trying to hit the right businesses, because now even they're having a hard time. They're closed, and restaurants are closed.
Sure.
Meals
It's
aren't going
affected
to be
everybody.
donated.
Yeah.
I mean, so the meals aren't going to be donated, for the team meals, and all that stuff. Now it just adds more money to the deficit. So we're trying to be as creative as possible. So that's a
Because
daily battle.
without a spring game, you don't get the parking covered. You don't get
No,
concessions. It's going to be a tough get for everybody. So, but with people like you in place to you know to keep chipping away at this challenge. Hopefully in the fall, we all recover from it, and we can all go with, at least fill the stadiums and enjoy sports, because it's such a huge part of the American culture. Can you imagine? Well, we're going to let the kids play, but nobody can go to the game.
nobody in the stands. So that,
Yeah,
there's,
it doesn't make sense. So the whole thing has been crazy. So, well, we're looking forward to Royal Palm getting back on the map again, and picking up where they left off last season. It's been a pleasure having you. It's been an honor. I appreciate you doing this, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing you guys win a lot of games, maybe even making the postseason next year.
that's one of our goals. That would be awesome. And thank you for having me. And like we had already talked about, our relationship, for the last 12 years or so, is awesome. So I love doing this, and this is a great opportunity to get out there and, I'm going to talk to you and talk some football differently, than when I talk to the kids. So this is a whole different level. This is nice.
Yeah, normally I'm taking pictures, or standing with a recorder after a game, talking to a player or a coach. So it's a nice change. I'm having fun with it. We'll see where it goes, and hopefully I can keep doing it and keep people engaged through this, and maybe even beyond. So good luck to you, Coach, and we'll see you next time. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Gene. Have a great day.
Stay healthy.